Horrible, terrible, no good, bad news today for the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow's season is done, if you had not already heard. Burrow has a torn ligament in his wrist slash throwing hand. His season is over. And most likely, as we'll get into, the Bengals season is also over. Team announced it today. Now, head coach Zac Taylor says season's not over. Okay, we'll get into the likelihood of that not being the case. What's noteworthy is that Bengals say it's not related to the wrist wrap that Burrow had been seen wearing entering Thursday Night Football, that the injury actually occurred not on the touchdown throw that Burrow, threw it and then let out the pain and looked down in obvious discomfort, but happened earlier on the Jadeveon Clowney, which is a pretty normal football play, and whatever happened, it led to it, maybe the initial injury and then a aggravation of it as the game went along. But Burrow's season is over. Obviously, no graphics today. It's the old at-home video because breaking news on the off day. It means we're still going to do a video for you guys. More free Bengals videos. We'll have a lot of draft coverage for you guys as well. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/BengalsTV right here on the channel. Burrow's loss is just a tremendous one for Cincinnati. Even if the Bengals had a better backup quarterback, where they stand at this stage seems incredibly unlikely to find a way to make a playoff run here. Hopefully Burrow's good to go next year. I would assume he is. This is the same hand he actually broke back in college, helped lead to Dwayne Haskins winning that job there at Ohio State. But Burrow's season is over. It is a tremendous loss. We'll break down some replacement options. We'll break down what it means short-term, long-term for Cincinnati. I do want to make sure everyone has a chance to show Joe Burrow some love. Everyone in the comment section right now, especially if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Type in 9 in the comments and show Joe Burrow some love on today's video. All right, short-term. I think you're cooked. I hate to be so blunt with it. Jake Browning, AJ McCarron will take the active roster spot. So short term, those are your options. It's not exactly a confidence-inspiring group. The Bengals are 5-5 right now. So to make the playoffs, I think they're going to have to get to 11 wins. Now, maybe 10 can backdoor their way in, but they might lose the playoff tiebreaker to Houston, who's got a very easy schedule, and it would require some success in the upcoming games against Pittsburgh. But remember, the Bengals have yet to win an AFC game this year. All their wins have come outside of the Bills. They've won that one, but they're winless in the conference or in the division, and they've got 4 wins over the NFC West, which is kind of hilarious. And the Bengals then have 1 win over Buffalo, which might give them the tiebreaker advantage when it comes down to it. But they're scheduled down the stretch as of right now, and this will change, I'm sure, at some point. 0 teams that are not at least 500. Home against Pittsburgh next Sunday, where it'll be Jake Browning and Kenny Pickett, and somehow Pittsburgh keeps getting away with having not great teams that win a bunch of games. Jacksonville on the road in prime time. Yikes. Not 9-0 chance. That gets flexed out now, by the way. Home against Indy, who's 5-5. Home against Minnesota. At Pittsburgh. At Kansas City, which was going to be one of the best games of the year. And now it's Mahomes and Jake Browning, maybe AJ McCarron. Home against Cleveland, who's also down their starting quarterback. So this is about as painful of a loss as you're going to have, because you need to go on a run to make the playoffs this year. And now you don't have your franchise guy. Now it's on the shoulders of Jake Browning, who was up and down from that perspective. It's just not great, on that front. It's a rather disappointing standpoint for the loss of Jake Brown, or for Joe Burrow. It's brutal. So is the season over? Y for yes, N for no in the comment section. The Bengals will say no, it's not. I think from a practical standpoint, yeah, you're cooked. I mean, who here thinks the Bengals are about to go on a run that features Jake Browning getting them to 11 wins down the stretch? I don't think that's doable. I think you'll be lucky to go 500. And even then, that's not nearly going to be enough. So I think it's over. You guys can vote Y for yes, N for no. Today's at-home Bengals video is made possible by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of players, the pros, the sharks, you just pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. I know many people on PrizePicks benefited from the reboot policy, which is injury insurance. Player goes down in the first half, does not return, player is rebooted, your picks stay in play despite the injury, which is exactly what you needed with the Joe Burrow injury, tragically, on Thursday night. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. That's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Link will be in the comments and the description of today's show. Let's look at the replacement options here for Joe Burrow. The obvious one is going to be Jake Browning, the backup quarterback who did lead a garbage time touchdown drive, can do some things with his legs, but does not hold a candle to the talent of Joe Burrow, and I think we're about to see how much Burrow had kind of carried that franchise to a certain extent. Browning's a backup, and he's one we didn't have confidence in the preseason until he played well in the third game, and T. Higgins is banged up, and we'll see when he comes back, hopefully this week against Pittsburgh. You're going to need the supporting cast to play out of its mind to win the games you need to win to make the playoffs. So with that in mind, I'll look at some other options out there. Confidence level in Jake Browning. Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. Beyond Browning, the next man up for the Bengals is going to be A.J. McCarron, who is on the practice squad right now. And there's a decent chance we see A.J. McCarron play some real games for you this year. God forbid another injury happens, or Browning is just super ineffective. I mean, congrats to your first real chance at the NFL, Jake. You get to go against the Ravens defense and the Steelers defense. Yikes. Beyond McCarron, I wouldn't be shocked if Reed Sinnett, ends up back on the practice squad. He's kind of been back and forth last year-ish for Cincinnati. The issue you run into for Cincinnati, and there are other guys out there you can call. You can call Cam Newton if you want. You can call Colt McCoy. You can call insert random quarterback here. I don't know what Drew Plitt's doing. Probably nothing. You can go call those guys. If you want to talk yourself into, we got to call Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers out of retirement. That's fine. I don't think, Brady probably could. But even then, this is not a great destination to be in. O-line's been kind of mediocre. All the actual free agents, the non-retired ones, I guess headlined by Cam Newton, you're not winning with those guys. You're not, those guys are not going to carry you to a 6-1 mark down the stretch. There's just no way. It's not going to happen. So I think the Bengals' best path here, let Jake Browning play. And what you're doing organically in the process, tanking. You're not going to finish this year very well. This is an opportunity to kind of get some more high draft capital. It sucks. This is not fun, but you don't have viable options in the middle of November. There's no one coming in to save this franchise. Your only hope for this year was Joe Burrow wasn't injured that badly, and he was able to come back. You do another late season run, and you squeak in as the wild card and go from there. For a team that had legitimate Super Bowl aspirations, to be where they are right now is just incredibly painful. No one's going to watch this team. Why would they? They're nothing to look forward to. Season's over. It sucks. It's brutal. It's just not a great situation for Joe Burrow. It's terrible. This is where we're at. He's done. And we'll see when he gets healthy next year. Hopefully he can actually have a preseason for once, but that is always up in the air. He'll be rehabbing a bunch, and we'll need some time for that injured wrist tendon ligament thing to heal. But you're going to have to tank. And maybe you end up with a top 10 pick. Maybe you get a Brock Bowers. Maybe you add a premier offensive lineman. Lose Jonah Williams, draft, J.C. Latham, draft Joe Alt, whatever. Probably not going to be in Marvin Harrison range because, again, or even the top franchise quarterback range, because 5 wins is probably too many to be a top 3 pick. You could lose out and end up with pick like 7 maybe 6 or 5, somewhere in that range. But you'll be in a spot to get some more talent, but it's all future looking now. This season's over, and that sucks. That's not fun. So we'll be here. We'll keep doing videos for you guys. We'll have the watch party on Sunday for you, but stinks. It's not fun. Maybe the Bengals pull off the upset. That certainly would be entertaining for Cincinnati.